Okay, so we're starting with Preston's earning money for mowing lawns in his neighborhood. We just started discussing why might he want to put it in the bank instead of keeping it at home. So far we have talked about so that way it doesn't get stolen. So not stolen. Or lost. Somebody else, I think it said so he doesn't spend it, not spend. And then somebody else said, oh, if he puts it in the bank, he can earn interest. Remember, interest is like that free money. Are you going to get free money if your money just sits at home in your sock drawer? No. What about in your wallet? No. So you put it in the bank, you can earn interest. That's like free money. Yay. Right, save it up. But watch it grow. Watch the interest grow. It depends on what the interest rate is at your bank. Different banks offer different interest rates. That's why all the problems that we do, they have different interest rates on them. All right, and it also depends on how long you keep that $100 in the bank. If you kept it in there for 5 days versus 5 years, that's going to make a big difference in how much interest you earn. All right, one reason might be that Preston's money can earn interest. Or remember, interest is that additional money that you earn for keeping your money in a savings account. Interest is earned regularly, and we usually call that annually. Because remember, we're calculating this in years. Annual means 1 year, once a year. So annually, and it's expressed as a rate or a percentage. The bank's going to give you an offer of a percentage rate. So to review back to simple interest from yesterday, simple interest is interest earned only on the principal. Only on the principal or the original amount deposited. So I'm going to earn my interest based on whatever I put in the bank. Whatever I put in the bank. All right, so let's review. Here's the formula. I equals PRT. What does the I stand for? Interest. And remember, that is the money earned. Or if you were borrowing money, it would be like that usage fee. That money I have to pay back because I borrowed it. What did the letter P represent? Not percentage. Principal. And if we remember, principal is that original amount. And what does the R stand for? Rate. And in order to use the formula, the rate has to be in what kind of form? As a decimal. In order to put it in that formula, it has to be a decimal. And what does the T stand for? Time in years. Time in years. All right, so these directions say we're going to use the simple interest formula to find the amount of interest earned in 1 through 3, so these first 3 problems. Then we're going to find the total value of the account, assuming that no other deposits or withdrawals were made. So we're going to be finding out 2 things for every problem. So the first thing we need to find out, how much interest did we earn? So number 1 says a $600 deposit for 30 years of a simple interest rate at 2%. Circle the word simple interest. That's a vocabulary word. That's going to tell you what formula to use. Tomorrow we're going to learn about something called compound interest, and it has a different formula. So by circling this key word, that's going to help your brain remember which formula to use. All right, simple interest. What is the formula? I equals PRT. Very good. So we're trying to find the interest, so we're solving for I. That means everything else we got to substitute. Formula, substitute, solve. Formula, substitute, solve. So I equals the principal. What is the principal amount from this problem? 600. 600, that's what we started with. Times the rate as a decimal. So we have 2%. Remember, percent is out of 100. 2 divided by 100, 0.02. And then how many years? So that means that person put $600 in a bank account and didn't touch it for 30 years. How much free money are they going to earn? How much interest are they going to earn? Multiply it all together. He said 360. Do y'all agree? I would agree, 360. So the interest in dollars, $360. So that was the first thing we had to figure out. Now they want to know, after those 30 years, I didn't touch the money. I didn't put any more in. I didn't take any more out. So after 30 years, how much do I have in that bank altogether? How did you figure that out? What did you do to figure that out? Right. In order to figure out how much we have total at the end of those 30 years, I take my principal amount, what I started with. I add it to my interest, my free money. So I started with $600 right there. And my interest-free money was $360. So my total account balance would be $960. Not too bad. $360, but it took a long time to get there, didn't it? Because that interest rate was really low. What about if that interest rate was higher? Would my money be bigger or smaller? Right, I would have more money in my bank account. My value would be bigger. Because I would be making more free money if my interest rate was higher. All right, let's look at number 2. A $4,100 deposit for 72 months at a simple interest rate, there's our keyword, simple interest, of 3.4%. Simple interest means I use which formula? I equals PRT. We're trying to find out how much interest was earned. So again, I'm still solving for I. So I is going to be equal to, what is my principal amount? What did we start with? Yes, $4,100 times my interest rate as a decimal. Yes, 0.034. Again, I could take 3.4 out of 100, divide that on my calculators. And then I need to multiply it by how many years? 72 months is how many years? It's 6. How did you find that out? Divided by 12, because there's 12 months in a year, so that is 6 years. Use your calculator now. Multiply it all together. 836.4. So in money terms, $836.4. 40 cents. Gotta have 2 decimal places, so we had to add a 0. Now they want to know, after those 6 years, what is the total value of my bank account?
4,936.4.
Yes, I add my principal plus my interest, 4,936.40. $4,936.40. All right, let's look at number 3. Last one that's a review from yesterday. A $1,250 deposit for 10 years at a simple interest rate of 5.25%. Simple interest is our key word. It tells us which formula are we going to use. Did you write the formula down? You better. Formula, substitute, solve. We're still looking for the interest earned. That's what the directions told me, earned interest. So I equals, what is the principal? How much did we start with? Good, 1,250 times my interest rate as a decimal, 0.0525. And then how many years? 10 years. So I is equal to? He says 656.25. Do you agree or disagree? No, sir, we do not charge cell phones in my classroom. 656.25. I like that we all agree. Thank you, sir. So in terms of money, we put that dollar sign, $656.25. And after those 10 years, what is the grand total in my account? 1906.25. $1,906.25. So that's kind of a review, kind of what we did yesterday. The last 2 problems are kind of like challenge problems. We're going to take what we know about this formula and about interest, and we're going to use it to solve application problems. So let's look at number 4. Patel made a deposit into an account that earns 5% simple interest. Uh-oh, that jumps out at me. Let me circle it. Simple interest. After 10 years, Patel has earned $1,500 in interest. How much was Patel's initial deposit? Oh, it's asking for something different, isn't it? All right, but it's still simple interest. That still tells me what formula do I use. Yes, I equals PRT. But we all kind of took a side when we saw it was asking for something different. What is it asking for? The initial deposit. What letter represents the initial deposit? The P, the principal. Remember principal. Up here, my principal was my original amount. So in this equation, in this problem, we're solving for R instead of I. Up here, we were solving for I. Now we're solving for R. Yes?
Is it kind of like when we did with the triangles and
yes, and you were solving for something different. You're kind of right. This is going to be turned into a solving equations problem. All right, since I'm solving for R, I need to substitute in. How much interest did he make? What does it say in the problem? Yes, $1,500. $500. That was his interest. Oh, I highlighted the wrong thing, guys. Initial deposit is the P, the principal. I highlighted the R. Y'all didn't correct me. I made a mistake. You just thought you were thinking wrong? No, Miss Marling was wrong. Alright, that got messy. We're solving for P, not R. Okay, so we don't know the principal, do we? Because that's what we're trying to find out. So we keep the P. That's the variable we're going to use. Alright, R for rate. Did it give us an interest rate? What did it give us? 5%, so I got to put that as a decimal. 0.05. What? You sure? Okay. And then the time. How much time did we put this in the bank? 10 years. So now we're just down to like a solving equations problem. But I notice I have two numbers here, right? I need to simplify this. We did this back in 6th grade is when you were first introduced. We're digging deep into our memory here. So I have 1,500 is equal to P times what? I'm simplifying. So multiply 0.05 times 10. You have a calculator, use it. It's 0.5. Now, this looks like a really easy one-step equation. I need to isolate the variable P. I need to get P all by itself. This says P times 0.5. In order to undo that, I have to do the inverse. What's the opposite of multiplying? So I'm going to divide by 0.5 so I can get rid of it. Move it to the other side. So P is going to equal to 3,000. So that means my principal amount was 3,000. We started with 3,000. And I hear a lot of people be like, wait a minute, how are we dividing and we get a bigger number? Because we're dividing by something smaller than a whole. They're wanting to know how many halves, 0.5, are in 1,500. So for every one, I can fit 2 halves. So for 1,500, I can fit 3,000 halves. You're dividing by a number smaller than 1. Very good. All right, so this one we had to do a little bit of manipulation. We had to make a solving equations problem out of it. All right, let's look at number 5. Mandy deposited $600 into an account that earns simple interest. Oh, there we go, vocabulary. And after 4 years, the total value of the account was $672. What was the simple interest rate? All right, so I know it's simple interest, so what formula can I use? I equals PRT. But now I need to look at the question. Am I solving for I? What is the question asking us to find? The rate. So the R is what we're trying to solve for. All right, so let's fill it in. I need to find out the amount of interest earned. Did the problem tell me exactly how much interest was earned? There wasn't a sentence that says it earned, was it? But let's think of the problem. If I deposited $600, and at the very end of those 4 years I have $672, how much free money did I earn? $72. I have to subtract those numbers. So my interest, my free money I earned was $72. So that's that little extra step we'd have to do here to figure that out. All right, what was my principal? What did I start with? 600 times the rate. I don't know it. That's what I'm looking for. Times how many years? 4 years. Again, it's like an equation. But I need to simplify my 600 and 400 first. So 72 is equal to, what is 600 times 4?
2,400.
You got it. 2,400 or 2,400 times R. Now what do I need to do to solve for R? Divide by what? Very good. Divide by 2,400, because that simplifies the 1. But what I do to one side, I do to the other. Double check yourself. Did you put 72 first, divided by 2,400? So R is equal to 0.03. But now we have to be careful. They're asking about the rate. Anytime we read a problem, how did they give us the rate? 1%. So if this was a test question, all of your answer choices are going to be 1%. So I need to change this decimal to 1%. Move it back twice. So 3%, or multiply by 100. 3%. Very good.